Hello and welcome to the Honest Football Podcast Championship Predictions. I'm Craig Savage. With me as always is Charlie Betts and Daniel Cody. So what we're going to do is we're going to a quick prediction of every game from the weekend's Championship fixtures, and we'll start off with the 12:30 game, Fulham versus Brentford. It's a local derby in London, and I'm going to start with Charlie Betts. Your prediction?
I'm going to go for a confident 3-1 Brentford win.
Wow.
That's a bold choice. Daniel Cody.
I am going to go first game. I'm going to go the opposite of the Premier League. High scoring draw, 2-2. Two very good teams, both in the playoff hunt, 2-2.
As it's Spurs versus fourth, local derby, I'm going to go for the home side, Fulham to win 2-1. Mitrovic is going to score goals.
So no one can accuse us of doing the same thing.
Exactly. One of us is going to be right tomorrow. Tomorrow when this goes out.
The second 12:30 game is Middlesbrough versus Swansea, 19th versus 11th. I'm going to start you, Daniel Cody. Who are you going to go for and why?
I'm going to let heart rule overhead here, and I'm going to hope that Swansea nick a result. I think Middlesbrough are probably just out of sight for Luton anyway in terms of the season, but I'm going to go for a Swansea 1-0 win. Charlie
Betts.
I'm going to go for a drab 1-1 draw. No, I just think 1-1, like you say, Middlesbrough are sort of out of shot of Luton, maybe on the verge of being safe. So I think maybe, we'll go for a 1-1 draw. Neither team got loads to play for.
I'm going to go for a Swansea 2-0 win. Ayew up front. Middlesbrough are very poor at home this season. Very poor. So I think it'll carry on the same and Swansea win 2-0.
Even Luton won there.
So it's saying something. The 1 p.m. kickoff of Millwall versus Derby. I'll go first. 8 versus 12. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Both sides not really special, to be honest. And that's why I'm just going to say that way. Daniel Cody.
I think it'll be a low-scoring game because when I saw Derby earlier in the season, they played lovely football and never really went anywhere. I think I compared them to Van Haal's United after watching them. Millwall were flying before under Gary Rowett, but I don't know what will happen now. So it's probably one of the hardest ones on the list for me, but I'm going to go for 2-1 Millwall.
Charlie Betts.
I'm going to go the opposite of that. I think that having watched Millwall on TV once this season and seeing quite a long ball sort of team, I'm going to go for 2-1 Derby because of the lack of crowd at Millwall.
Oh, good. That's a good shout. Yeah, the Millwall Rockers fans, they can just that obviously gives the players an extra edge, and the away team would just feel a little bit more frightened and
it can be quite intimidating to play that, can't it? So I think without that, 2-1 Derby.
And on to the 3 p.m. kickoffs. Blackburn Rovers versus Bristol City, 10th versus 7th. Daniel Cody.
Well, for me, this is one where Blackburn, obviously due to the behind-the-scenes things, haven't had big houses for a long time, although it was a great time when we went up there. So I think they won't be as affected, but Bristol City are a good side. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, but Blackburn's play well.
Charlie?
No, I was going to go for a draw as well, but I'll go a bit more high score. I'm going to go 2-2. But yeah, I do agree. I think out of all maybe some of the clubs in the Championship, actually, the lack of crowd probably will affect Blackburn one of the least, to be honest, in that sense, I suppose. 2-2 for me. I
feel both teams feel a bit inconsistent, to be honest. And I haven't gone for many goals. I've only gone for one, and that's Blackburn Rovers 0, Bristol City 1.
Controversial.
Big game down the bottom. 18th versus 20th. Huddersfield Town versus Wigan Athletic. Charlie.
So this was a tough one. I was looking at these. So much to play for, and as we know, obviously, of whatever's happening at the end of the season, all this malarkey, I do think it's going to be a real scrap. However, I'm going to just offer a complete heart thing, not anything to do with head. High scoring 3-2 Wigan.
Wow.
Wigan haven't won any away game. I think Wigan only won one away game.
No, but there's been a break. This is essentially a new season, so I'm thinking almost like a new season, new Wigan come back 3-2 win.
I'm going to go for Huddersfield to win 2-1. No particular reason why. I'm just going to say Huddersfield to win 2-1. Daniel Cody.
I've also gone for a Huddersfield win just. I've gone for 1-0. I don't think there'll be many goals. I mean, the last game I watched before the lockdown live was Wigan-Luton. It was 0-0, and bar one brilliant save at the end, neither team looked like they'd score if they play for a year. So we're still in the same year. I don't think we can score.
Another massive game down the bottom. It's Hull City versus Charlton Athletic. Both teams have got problems off the field. And Daniel, I'm going to start with you first, actually. Hull versus Charlton.
Well, I'm gutted these two are playing each other because Luton could do without these two, potentially one of them picking up points. I know Charlton have been dropping like flies. They're missing key players, as we mentioned in our podcast the other week about Lyle Taylor in particular. But Hull, since January, since Jared Bowen went, they have been atrocious.
And
so not only
going as well.
Yeah. So and obviously there's been the thing about Marcus Maddison the last couple of weeks as well. So as much as I don't see Hull winning, I actually see them getting in a bit of trouble. So I'm going to go for 3-0 Charlton.
Whoa.
Charlie bets.
So I was going to go for not nowhere near as big as that. I was going to go for a Charlton win on the simple thing of actually, they probably have all of the teams down there. They've got the most amount of freedom because essentially whatever happens, the whole, I'm not going on about it again, this whole scenario of the players and Lyle Taylor, it's taken a bit of heat off of the actual team, I think, in a sense. So I almost feel like they'll play with a bit of freedom. They go down, obviously it'll be devastating. But I think as a mindset, actually they've got the least pressure on them now because people are writing them off anyway. So I actually think, I think 1-0 Charlton.
I've gone the complete opposite way of you saying there'll be goals. Both teams obviously can't score. Well, now Lyle Taylor's not playing. I can't see Charlton scoring. So I've gone for 0-0.
Wow. I can't see Hull not conceding, to be honest.
I know. That's what I can't see Charlton scoring either. So
fair enough.
Another big game down the bottom, Luton Town versus Preston, North End. I'm going to start with the non-Luton Town fan first. Charlie Best.
Well, do you know, I'm going to reveal a little bit of a secret. I spoke to a footballer that the interview hasn't come out yet, but we spoke about a change of manager. I won't name whom, so you'll listen to it. But he was saying that I sort of asked him about whether that's a cliche of the new manager bounce thing. And in his opinion, it isn't. It's actually a genuine thing that, a new manager comes in, for whatever reason, players think they've got a chance and all of this, etc. So I do think there'll be a new manager bounce. Whether that starts with Preston, as in playing against Preston that game, I don't know. But I do think they'll get a point at least. So I'm going to go 2-2.
Daniel Cody.
I agree with Charlie that Luton definitely won't keep a clean sheet. Obviously, we talked about Nathan Jones returning quite a lot of detail, and it's a new manager, but it's not a completely new manager. The vibes coming out of the club seem to be incredible. Obviously, unfortunately, despite us criticising it, I'm going to have to use my new free iFollow pass as a season ticket legend or whatever they're calling them.
I'm going to have to pay £10.
Yes, which is less than I would have paid if I was going to the game, by the way. So I'm not going to let Hart go over heads. I honestly believe that Luton, without the home crowd, which has been so crucial this season, unfortunately, probably won't win as much as I want them to. I'm going to go 2-1 Preston.
I'm going to go with Charlie's theory of a new manager bounce. Looking at one of the goals Luton scored the other day, it felt like the old way of the last two seasons. So I think Luton are going to win 2-1.
Whoa!
I hope you're right.
I hope so too. Another team down the bottom, Barnsley, they're away to QPR. Daniel Cody, what do you think?
I've mixed heart and head a bit here. I've gone, QPR were brilliant in the game. I saw them earlier in the season, and I know they've been so inconsistent, but Barnsley ship goals for fun. So I'm going high scoring. QPR to win 3-2 against Barnsley.
I've decided, I think there'll be goals in this game as well, but I don't think there'll be any for Barnsley. I think if he stays fit, I think obviously they'll keep going, even though they're being inconsistent. I agree with you on that one. Yeah. But I've gone for QPR to win 3-0. Charlie?
I'm going to split a difference. So a colleague of mine from work is a QPR fan, and your dad's mate, Mark Warburton, he always says, great attacking football.
Yes, he is.
Always leak goals. So I was flirting with 3-2, but obviously now Dan's gone for that. So I think they'll let it go, but 3-1 because QPR going forward is so strong, but so ropey at the back as well. So 3-1. We
should say they'll probably struggle without the crowd as well, I would have thought, because they were quite boisterous when we were there earlier in the season.
Well, this is one thing I was going to ask you at the end, but I'll bring it in now because obviously Loftus Road, Kenilworth Road, and Griffin Park, they're obviously the three small stadiums in the Championship. And obviously with the guidelines of how you've got to keep social distance on the bench and stuff. How do you think they're going to cope?
Well, to be fair, I think I've been fair in the results, haven't I? I know Brentford are away, but for Luton and for QPR, I just sort of think it's going to have an effect. QPR, luckily, are playing at home to a side I think they'll just about beat anyway. But if Luton had a full house in there, I wouldn't be going for a Preston win. That's all I can say.
Moving on. Reading in 14th place. Stoke without the manager. He's obviously contracted with the virus, and we wish him all the best. And he won't be at the game. There's in 17th, Danny Cody. Who do you think will win that one?
Another tough one. And again, how do you predict without the manager there? I know they've got a good team around them, and they've been doing very well since Nathan Jones left, ironically. So I've sort of gone Reading. I've got nothing to play for. Again, inconsistent. And Stoke haven't scored a huge amount of goals. So I'm going to go 0-0 for this one.
Charlie bets.
Yeah, I think 1-1, to be honest. And I say that because, having watched a little bit of Michael O'Neill when he was managing, obviously, Northern Ireland's national sort of team and all of that. Quite direct, but it is a little bit drab. So, I think, like I say, Reading sort of just floating, not really anything to play for. So, it'll be it's not one I would pay £10 to watch. So, I'm going to go 1-1. You watch me 4
Those are the views of Charlie Betts. Charlie Betts only.
No, but what I'm saying is all those fixtures that I could potentially watch on iFollow on Saturday, that wouldn't be at the top of my list. Let's put it that way.
Maybe. I've gone the opposite way for you guys of draws. I actually think Stoke will win 3-1 at the MJC.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know. I find Reading boring. Those are the views of myself and myself only.
Am I the only one who's not going to offend someone today?
Sheffield Wednesday versus Nottingham Forest in the Championship. 15th versus 5th. I'm going to go first in this one. I'm going to go for a Sheffield Wednesday 0, Nottingham Forest 2. Obviously, we went to watch Nottingham Forest in our matchday vlog back in January against Luton Town, and I don't know. I think if Lewis Grabban stays fit, obviously he's just there to score goals, isn't he? It's not like a fox in a box, but if the ball falls to him in the penalty area, he's 9 out of 10 times he's going to score, and I think he's going to do the exact same. Charlie Betts.
Yeah, do you know, I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Sheffield Wednesday. I don't really like them seeing them sort of, not in the doldrums. That's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but just not really doing anything. So, but I can't see them getting a result tomorrow. And I know you mentioned Lewis Grabban, but someone who actually really impressed me in the one game that I've watched was Joe Lolly as well. So I think if they're on form, I think 3-0 Forest. To be honest, I think it'll be a comfortable win for them because going forward they were very good.
Charlie
Betts, Daniel Cody, sorry.
I don't know. I mean, let's be fair. Probably towards the end of what we're calling it, the first stint of the season, Sheffield Wednesday dropped away massively. And there was a lot of talk about the management role and all of that sort as well. Nottingham Forest, as you say, the second half performance that we went to was brilliant. So I can't see past Forest, but I'm going to go a bit tighter. I'm going to go 2-1.
Another local derby in the Championship on Saturday. West Bromwich Albion versus Birmingham City. Daniel Cody, who have you gone for and why?
It's always hard to tell. And this is the hardest one I've had with the fans being out is how do you go for a derby? Because what's the effect going to be? You have to assume it's going to harm the home team. Because in normal circumstances, I'd go for a West Brom win here. I believe Bilic will take them up. But, I've had 1-1 and 2-1, and I've just chopped and changed between them constantly. So I'm going to throw my guns out. 1-1.
Interesting. I'm going to stick with West Brom. Bilic will still keep them in the right way, and even without the crowd, I think they're a fantastic side. So I've gone for West Brom 3, Birmingham City 1.
Wow.
Charlie.
I've gone for a West Brom win. Playing obviously Birmingham, massive club, but I do think that they've got too much firepower. So I'm going to go 2-0 West Brom.
They did escape punishment as well, Birmingham, didn't they, this week? So
yes,
biggest club in Birmingham, though, to be fair. So anyway.
Oh, that is the view of Charlie Betts again.
And the final game of the Championship on Sunday, it's Cardiff City versus Leeds United. Daniel Cody.
The big game that they're billing up for the weekend for the Championship return to finish off the fixture list. I am going for a classic 0-0.
Really?
Yep.
For Cardiff Leeds?
0-0.
Do you think they'll bottle it?
I just think, a bit like yesterday where there was all that hype around Villa Sheffield United, the first game back. And it was, let's be honest, I know they were trying to talk it up, but it wasn't a great game of football. Yes, it had a massive talking point, but it wasn't a great game. The first game back in Germany I watched as well, that was a crap game, and I think this will be the same. I know it's not the first game there, but it's the first big Championship TV one. So I just think it'll be a poor game, and 0-0.
I've totally disagree with what you're saying with a 0-0 game. Leeds, I think Leeds will win 3-0.
Wow. Not throwing it away this year then?
There's more games to go for them to throw it away. So, but no, I think these will beat Cardiff 3-0.
I think from a policing perspective, this is probably a bit of a blessing. This sort of the lack of crowd, but I don't know. I think because of that, actually, I think Cardiff might sneak a 1-0 win. I think Leeds, they've had that, the break and all of that. And much as Bielsa's a good manager, I still think they'll bottle it. So I'm almost like Dan saying, almost overhyped. There's no pressure really on Cardiff in this one. A lot of the talk is about Leeds, so I'm going to Cardiff 1-0.
And that's our predictions for the first weekend back from lockdown in the Championship. Do you agree with our predictions? Let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And you can follow us on Twitter @HonestFootball3. And we'll see you next time.